Dragon!
What's up, guys? It is Sunday, and it's like 11 o'clock Sunday. But I'm here getting in our Q&A number 20. We've done 20 of these. As you can imagine, a lot of questions that come through are usually the same as some previous questions I might have answered. So for those of you guys that are coming into my channel and are relatively new from when I first began, be sure to check those videos out. I know they're probably not as good, but they're okay, and they do offer some information, which is good, and then you won't have the same questions, which is even better, because someone asked, how do I get my questions answered on your videos? And it really just boils down to what's being upvoted, what you guys want to hear. So as long as it's a good question, I would assume that people are going to upvote it, and that's going to come to my attention. And I do my best to look out for those and answer them. And also make sure that they're on this week's Q&A. So for example, we're doing Q&A number 20. Put all your questions and comments, Q&A number 20, and I will go back to that next weekend when I'm doing Q&A 21. If that makes sense, I hope it does. So we got a few good questions today. I'd say they're all good questions, but they're really not. Some of you guys' questions are just funny for the most part. Like, do you know what your vertical jump is like? I don't. Sorry. I'm not saying that's a stupid question, but someone commented, he trains for a specificity. All right, can't even say the word now that I'm thinking about it. And I do train specifically for powerlifting and being strong and being explosive, but I also don't incorporate those kinds of things into my movements, if that makes sense. I don't see the point. It's like I'm not going to be doing it. I don't need to do it for any reason. You might argue maybe it will help with your explosiveness in the squat. Maybe it will. But I just don't do it. I'd assume it's around 30. I've done like 32 or 33 before, I believe. Last time I did it, it was like 28, 29. So if I actually practiced, I'm sure I'm right around 30 range. 30 inch vertical, that is. So maybe that's not that great. I don't know. I don't necessarily care, but hey, that's that. So hopefully you guys liked Wednesday's video. That was fun. This week we got some good questions, as I mentioned, so let's go ahead and pop into those. Let me just zoom in here on what they say. Alright, not going to do names this time, or probably in the future, just because I can't say names. So if you're watching, thanks for your questions, and hopefully you appreciate the answers. So, first question, how much does a belt personally add to your squat and deadlift? And I can't give you a specific answer here. I know I can deadlift 675 without a belt, but I never have gone above that. I'm sure it adds, depending on the person and on their comfort level, 50 pounds or so. Like, I just would never attempt 825 without a belt, because that does help to brace your core a little bit, and it prevents injury. As many of you might know, people can get, what is it called? Hernia from not wearing a belt, because their, abs or ab wall is not strong enough for the internal pressure, so your intestine basically pops out of your ab wall. Nobody wants that, so put on a belt if you don't feel comfortable doing the weight. I train a lot without a belt, so that's supposed to strengthen my core and ab wall, so that would help to prevent that happening, as I get heavier and heavier, but I also put on a belt. So I'd say 50 pounds for me as far as the comfort level. I never really train without a belt above 675, so hopefully that helps. I just don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll try it out and let you know. Next question. Do you stretch and roll out every day, and what is your recovery routine? Yes, I stretch and roll every day for about 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after a workout. If I happen to not train that day, I'm still going to stretch out for at least 10 minutes. They say you should be stretching and rolling and all that for the same amount of time as your workout. So I train for 2 to 3 hours, so I should be stretching and shit for 2 to 3 hours. That's clearly not going to happen. I don't believe in that, but 10 to 15 minutes for me is good as far as recovery goes. Proper rest, proper nutrition, and hydration. Like, I've been drinking 2 gallons of water lately, and that's been mixed with like 20 grams of BCAAs and 40 grams of glutamine, and I gotta say, I've been feeling a lot better. I know you guys, as much as you hate to hear it and whatever, supplementation is extremely valuable for people, so to speak, in my shoes, when they're at the top of their, performance, where little small things start to make a difference, and are very important in recovery. So, obviously for guys that are just starting lifting, get your nutrition down first and start hydrating properly. For those guys that are moderate to intense lifters, maybe you should, start looking into supplementation, exploring that route. So, and if you are, make sure you go to cagemuscle.com. Obviously, I'm one of their athletes. If you don't know that already, I am. And the reason why I chose them is because I feel completely comfortable in recommending their products to you. I wouldn't have ever gone with the company if I felt they were sketchy or if their products didn't work. So, just so you know that, obviously go check them out. Make your own choice based on your information. But I totally recommend them, and they're great products. So if you're interested, go take a look. If not, that's fine. On to the next question. How many times have you changed your stance or bar positioning? I'd say, it continues to vary as I go. But the biggest change is probably 3 times. So, as you start out, you kind of learn, okay, this is how you should lift. This is your form. So you do that for a while. I did that for a while. Next, it's like I got my powerlifting coach, and this was his opinion on how I should lift. So then I took, my bench really wide. My squat wasn't always narrow, but he actually recommended that I go narrow squatter, and that actually stuck. My deadlift I had to kind of figure out on my own. He gave me, this is probably how you should deadlift, or try sumo and things like that. And as I tried, I stuck with a conventional base, but couldn't figure out my grip necessarily, or my stance specifically. So I'd say 3 times, probably on each. My bench continues to vary just as I'm trying to figure out what's working best, because there's still a lot of improvement I feel like I can do on my bench. My squat's solid, changed that a few times. My deadlift's solid, I've changed that one like 2 or 3 times. And I finally feel like I got it down 100% on those. So I would say, you're going to find a base, and then you're going to have someone else put their info in your ear. You're going to try that, and then you're going to find what works best for you. So everyone, they might continue to change it, but 3 times at least probably is the number that, people are going to try different, grips or stances or bar positioning, things like that. It's kind of something you got to do throughout your life, I feel like, as you train. So, is what it is. It's going to continue to change. Do you, or have you ever had a training partner? Do you like training alone or around people? Yeah, I've had training partners in the past. Every now and then I'll have a training partner. My brother, my friend Andy. I think that was pretty much the only 2. Liam, you guys might have saw him on some of my videos. Every now and then I'll have a training partner, which is nice, but I always expect that I'll be training by myself, because you can't rely on everyone else, and you can't really rely on anyone, especially in the sport of powerlifting. So it's all on you. So that's kind of how I take my training. I focus and kind of expect that I'll be training alone, and you have to make sure you're ready, and you got to know your body that much more, especially on a bench press. You can't go to failure on a bench press by yourself, because if you do, the bar's probably gonna be stuck on your neck. So it helps to know your body that much more, and that's what I've learned throughout my time. And training alone, it's been especially helpful in that sense. So if you're training with a partner, I would say try training alone, but obviously you need to know your limits. So find those first, and then take a small step back to ensure that you're being safe as well. If you've only been training by yourself, find a partner. You'll see that training with a partner is especially helpful when you're going to failure or maxing or things like that. But as you know, my training is a lot of RPE based, and I never go to failure, and that's a lot of that is to do with me training by myself. So, and like I said, it's extremely helpful when you go into a meet and you know yourself, you know your body. If you hit a weight and it's feeling off, you know that, and you go change your next attempt, things like that. So I'd really recommend it to anyone. When do you put on your knee sleeves, and what kind of shoes do you have? Everyone's been wondering about my shoes, man. Squat shoes are VS Athletics. Squat shoes are pretty base, nothing fancy. My black and red shoes that you guys have been wondering about, they're Reebok CrossFit TRs, and I customized them myself. So I did the red and black scheme. I wish I could go create a pair and have you guys buy my creation, but that's not how it works. I wish it was. So go to Reebok, you can customize, choose your colors and material and things like that. But that's what I got. I got leather and black and red. So customize them, boys and girls, and that's what I got. Someone asks or says, recently aggravated my lower back. Should I wait until I have zero pain or lower the weight until 100%? And this question might help you guys understand how I've progressed through injuries throughout my career and things like that. What I would recommend to you is lower the weight, stretch, roll, ice, do all the recovery things that you can do, but also continue to do the movements. If the movement itself is completely irritating and you can't stand it, then don't do it, but you should be able to do some weight without aggravating it. So I'd recommend stepping back. Let's say you normally deadlift 405 for 5. Maybe you step all the way back to just 225 for sets of 8 to 10, and that's your workout. You're doing enough to get some work in, but not too much to irritate it and aggravate it. That's how I always work through injuries. Sometimes I said screw it and I just pushed and pushed and pushed, but that usually made it worse. So I would recommend taking a step back, still get the work in, still get the blood flowing, stretch, ice, do what you can to recover as fast as possible. But I wouldn't say the best thing is to completely stray away from the lifts. So don't do that, you guys. Any more questions today? I swear I had one. I do have one, actually. I can't find the question, but somebody asked me, in a sense, if I get uncomfortable lifting the amount of weight I do in public, because obviously that draws, attention, and people stare and this and that. And I'm probably not wording the question perfectly as they did, but it was something around those lines, and I thought it was really interesting that someone would ask that, but it's also a great question to get a little knowledge or input from me. Usually it doesn't bug me. As my social media things grow and things like that grow, I feel like I have more and more eyes on me. So that can be, can feel like pressure once in a while. I don't know why it shouldn't feel like that. I tell myself it shouldn't feel like that. Like I'm just being me in all honesty, so it shouldn't matter. But it almost feels like I need to do well, or I need to keep outperforming myself, you know, for you guys, like to see progress, to, you know, keep making progress in my life and lifting and things like that. So it puts a little more extra pressure on me in that sense. But as far as being out in public and, you know, people watching me, things like that don't necessarily bother me. It's like, okay, well, I'll just ignore it. I just block it out. But when people start like coming up to me and asking questions all the time, it's like, dude, I just want to get a workout in. Like, just, like, I don't want to be an asshole. So of course I'm going to answer their questions and, you know, try to talk with them and help them out. But to a point, it's like, man, I'm just trying to get a workout in. Like, just give me my space, almost. So it was a really interesting question. No, I don't get uncomfortable, as I said, but there are some different things that go around that kind of question, I guess. So hopefully I answered that. If you see me in the gym, you know, you're free to ask me questions. You know, if I look like I'm free, but I'm a nice guy. Of course, I want to help people and I want to help you guys out, which is why I make all these videos and, you know, do the things that I do. But, you know, to a point, sometimes it can be a little much. So, not that I'm trying to complain. It's great. I love having you guys. Whatever. My social medias continue to grow, and it's a great ride. So, appreciate you guys following me, subscribing. If you share my videos, awesome. You know, if you recommend them to a friend, even better. Whatever you do, I appreciate it. I think we're coming close to 20,000 followers on YouTube, which is awesome. Hopefully that will just continue to grow. I know I need to put some interesting things in my videos. Hopefully I'm doing that. I'm just on a rant now. Anyways, guys, that's questions for today. This is Q&A number 20. Remember to leave your questions and comments here for next week's video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And as always, we will see you next time.